Hi, everyone. Welcome into our Wednesday wellness broadcast. We're going to get into the intro and then we're going to get into these language traps for today. Stay tuned.
Hey everybody, it's your girl Kanisha Moselle, and I am so excited. We just finished up the book and brunch to launch my first book, Grace for This, the devotional. It's a 21-day journey for women who are growing through grief. The conversations that we had in here today was phenomenal. I want to let you know that GRACE is the acronym. It stands for Grief, Rest, Aid, Community, and Evolve. The reality of it is that we are experiencing a grief journey every single day. Every transition can cause you to grief, but are you leaning into your grief? Grieving is also exhausting, so I'm going to encourage you to actually rest. And when you're resting, rest is clarifying. You want to learn what you do and don't have capacity for anymore. And guess what? You're going to begin to ask with more clarity about exactly what you need. That C stands for community, because when you start asking for help, your people who are meant for this next season are going to respond to your ask, and your community is going to change. And then lastly, when you go through that grace journey, you're going to evolve to the next best version of yourself. So I'm so excited for you to be a part of this journey. You're going to love what we're doing in this community. Follow Kanisha Moselle and follow Grace for This on Instagram and Facebook.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Language Trap Stuck to Unstoppable series on the Wellness Wednesday broadcast. I am Jerecia Lee. I am the CEO of Journey with J.Lee Consulting, where we help professionals move from stuck to becoming unstoppable. Before we get into this week, we got a quick announcement about this weekend. Hopefully, everyone is tracking that we have the wellness work take over this weekend. We have two brand new therapists that will be in the room. We, of course, have Dr. Lou and, of course, our fearless leader, Kanisha Moselle. If you haven't already, please look at the link and get registered for Friday and Saturday. Friday starts at 7, and then Saturday will be, it looks like that starts at 10 a.m. Registration is at gracefordthis.net. So get connected. Let's get in the room. Let's continue the good work that you guys have already started. All right. So hello, everyone. I see Kayla's in the room. I see Miss Cassandra is in the room. So welcome, everyone. Today we are going to be talking about our infamous, hey, Dr. Mason, our infamous boundaries. Okay. So we are talking about boundaries today. You know, I like to start out with you guys letting me know, what is it that comes to your mind when you hear the word boundary. So in the comment section, if you can let me know what is your definition, or what are your first thoughts when you hear the word boundaries. Hello. Welcome in. So I'm going to give you guys a couple of moments to kind of put that definition in before I keep rolling. And then, of course, once I see what you guys have, we're going to talk about it. And then I'm going to give the operational definition that I'm going to be using today, because part of my thing is sometimes we use the same word, but we may have different definitions. And so that causes a lot of miscommunication when we're talking with each other. So I hear space. I see protection. You do not have full access. It's a stop sign. It's a limited access. Hello, Paula. So yes. Okay. So the definition that I'm going to be using today, and if you guys see my eyes going back and forth, is because I have my notes over here to the right. Let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to get to my definition. So a basic definition of boundaries. It is a lot of what you guys have said. It is limits and standards we set to protect our emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual well-being, right? I see Kanisha says, do not cross the line. So basic definition, limit standards we set to protect our emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual well-being. Now, here's the thing. When it is time for us to set a boundary, the first thing we have to be able to identify is, what is it that we're actually trying to protect ourselves from? Or what are we trying to prevent? Can you guys give me some examples of when you have thought about putting a boundary in, or when you have put a boundary in, what were you trying to protect yourself from, or what were you trying to prevent? And as we work through this, you guys are going to see that the unraveling method that I introduced to you guys last week will actually kind of show up in this same space. So I'm going to kind of point it out as it's happening, but I also want to see if you guys can see the unraveling method come into play too. So if you guys can tell me some examples or give me some examples of ways that you have attempted to try to protect yourselves or prevent something from happening. So I see in some cases you're protecting your peace of mind. Absolutely. We're trying to prevent hurt. Okay. Good deal. Good deal. And I would say those are probably use do not disturb on my phone. That's one way you accomplish it. So that's protecting. If you're trying to do not disturb on your phone, that means you're probably trying to protect your space because maybe you're trying to focus on something, protect your mind, and you don't want to be disturbed. Okay. So here's the question, and this is one way that a lot of times we kind of fall into a trap. We a lot of time release the responsibility of a boundary being upheld to others. Or we don't even know what it is that we need. Like you said, I may be trying to prevent being hurt. So then I put the responsibility on somebody not being able to hurt me by asking them to change their behavior. Right? So instead of asking them to change the behavior, we have to say, okay, when this behavior happens, because we can't control somebody, what am I going to do? And I'm going to go back and read some of these comments because I feel like these comments are good. When I was at a party, I told my friends I would not drink alcohol and not to try to give me anything with alcohol in it. That's a good boundary. They respected the boundary and we all had a great time. Good. I don't allow messiness in my relationships. Absolutely. I pay attention to any red flags and acknowledge at the beginning my peace is everything. And my question for that one is how long did it take you to get to a place to be like, I'm not doing no mess? I have conversations to explain why the boundaries are set. That is excellent, Kayla. We absolutely have to have, I'm not going to say always, because sometimes conversations when we're trying to tell people the shift that they're going to see, they feel like it's a time to negotiate, or they may try to be dismissive or criticize what we're trying to do. Let's see. Going through. Hi, everybody, as you guys are coming in. Okay. So we've identified what the need is when we're establishing the boundary. I am trying to make sure that I'm going to say that I don't take on emotional weight that's not mine. So that's kind of going into that hurt realm, right? Like, I don't want to be upset about X, Y, and Z. That's good. You got to know to set the boundaries. Yep. So, if again, the first trap is that I have released the responsibility that I actually supposed to have on myself to somebody else, this is a lot of times where we get frustrated. We get frustrated because we're like, well, I told such and such, I'm going to use cursing. I feel like that's a lighthearted example that I can use. I told my cousins that, don't cuss around me. I told is an automatic, you're releasing. I am now requiring someone to show up differently. And then what if they're not ready to show up differently? What if they don't like cursing is who they are? That's what they want to do. And we're saying, I don't like cursing, so don't curse around me. Versus if it's like, okay, I just want to let you guys know, I know you guys like to cuss, but it now hurts my ears. So whenever you guys start cursing, like, don't be offended. I'm going to kind of just walk away. I'm just going to remove myself, right? So it's my boundary. My boundary is I don't want to be around anyone that is cursing. So therefore, when it is happening, I'm going to remove myself. Not, I told you to stop cursing when I'm around because it hurts my ears. I don't understand why you won't accept my boundary. No one is obligated to set a boundary that is helpful for you. I want everybody to repeat. Our boundaries are our responsibility. Our boundaries are our responsibility to uphold. We cannot control other people. And we have to understand that and really accept that. I see someone said it's all in the deliverance. Our boundaries are, yep, thank you guys. Okay, so let's talk about some of the other traps that happen. So we've established, okay, I need this boundary because I need to protect my peace. I need to protect my mind. I'm trying to protect something or I'm trying to prevent something. So we're taking our own ownership. Let's talk about some of the things that kind of prevents us from being able to take that ownership for ourselves. How many of you have said, well, I don't want to hurt their feelings? Has anybody said that? I don't want to hurt their feelings. Has anyone said it's not that serious? I know a lot of us have said, oh, that's just how they are. They are not going to change. Has anyone said, I'll just deal with this later? And here's one of my favorites. I don't want to seem difficult. Now, I have a whole soapbox about that one. I'm going to try not to get on that soapbox. I may end up leaning into it as we're talking, but I'm going to try to stay off of that soapbox. So let's go back through them. I see the hands are raising. I hear that, yes, all of these have been said at least by one person. I don't want to hurt their feelings. What are we doing? We are now self-sacrificing. We are sacrificing what we need to keep the peace. Because have you ever heard that, especially in family dynamics? Someone has done something to offend you. You're wanting to address it, but the people around you is like, no, don't say anything. Let's just keep the peace. Whose peace? It's not my peace. So what you're telling me is that person's peace is more important than my peace. You want me to sacrifice me. Cool. If that's how you feel, me personally, my mind is not going to go to, okay, you're no longer a safe person. You don't have my best interest at heart. Right? And I'm not talking about, oh, I'm about to go in there hot and cuss everybody out. I'm talking about, I want to have a conversation to let that person know, hey, when this occurred, this specific behavior occurred, it made me feel a certain way, and I'm not okay with it. And as a result, this is how I'm about to shift. This is how I'm about to show up differently. So there is no confusion about what's happening. But a lot of us feel uncomfortable advocating for ourselves and telling people what we need and what our boundaries are. And again, what our boundaries are for ourselves, and not necessarily that we need them to show up differently. The example that was given earlier about the drinking, she stated to her friends, hey, I'm not going to be drinking any alcohol. Please don't try to ask me. Right? They could have not honored her and not respected her and be like, okay, girl. And then when they got there, start asking her for, hey, just drink this one. It's fine. We got you. Just take a shot. They could have pressured her, right? But they honored what she said and they didn't. So now those are, to me, those would be safe people. I can express something to you that I'm trying to do, And the people around me is going to honor that and make sure and hold me accountable to what I said, versus trying to figure out a different way to maneuver so I can either fit in with them or they don't feel so bad, whatever the intent thought process is. So I don't want to hurt their feelings. It's self-sacrificing. And here's a way to switch that one around, right? Because we're talking about how to start shifting our mindsets and how we can use language to get us to a place to making sure that we're not stuck and we are safe and we are having that peace that we need. So we can tell ourselves and tell other people, again, they don't have to listen to us. And so we got to make sure that we're also not falling in the trap of trying to get people to understand where we're coming from and the things that we're doing. And we just stand firm in it and going back to the safe people. If they are trying to dismiss or rationalize why we're wrong or why we're overreacting, they are not safe people. And we got to be okay with understanding where people are in their journey and realizing that, like, as we are actively trying to grow and do things differently and show up differently, there's going to be some people that we have to let go because, again, they're not on that same path with us. So going back to what are we supposed to say? I'm allowed to honor myself and my needs, even if it's uncomfortable. A lot of times I tell people, but that makes me nervous or it is uncomfortable. Correct. But not saying something, you're already uncomfortable. We don't acknowledge the state that our body is in when things are happening. It's like we're trying to prevent being uncomfortable, but a lot of times I say, aren't you already uncomfortable? You're already uncomfortable. So lean into the uncomfortableness and advocate for yourself. Go into the trap of it's not that serious. I don't know if I'm pretty sure we tell ourselves that, but I know for a fact that other people around us feed that to us too. Oh, it's not that serious. In relationships, you're trying to communicate with your partner, but your partner, is not wanting to hear it or they're on their own journey. And so you bring something up to them and they say, oh, it's not that serious. You're overreacting. Guess what? If you're telling yourself that, you're being dismissive to yourself. If somebody else is telling you that, they're being dismissive. And if that's happening, again, outside or externally, they're not safe people. We can't grow with them. And if you're telling yourself that, think about it. You're being dismissive to self. You can't require someone or ask someone to show up in a way that you can't show up for yourself. We are our first true protectors. The next one. Oh, let me give the reframe for that one. So when we're telling ourselves it's not that serious or someone else is telling us it's not that serious, we need to reaffirm ourselves. If it impacts me, if I'm having some type of feeling about it, it absolutely matters. Now, how we address it, that's when we go get the unraveling method, right? That's when we go, okay, this happened. How am I feeling? Why am I feeling that way? What do I need? And who do I need to communicate with? Right? The boundary that may need to be set is, okay, I've had this conversation with this person and, they're not shifting. They're not shifting. So you know what? I'm going to shift how I show up. Maybe I don't interact with them in this certain way. Maybe I limit the access. Okay. Then we have, that's just how they are, or I'll deal with it later. Both of those are avoided behaviors. We're not expecting them to change. That's just how they are. It may be how they are, But it does not mean that I have to continue to expose myself, especially if they are harmful to me. We can't control anybody. We can't change anybody. But I don't have to continue to put myself in the presence of you if what you're doing and who you are is harmful. I'm good. I'm not going to do it. I've known people, and it was kind of hard for me, even in this state, to really understand. But as I sat back and listened to what the person was saying, I was like, oh, they're protecting their peace. I've known people who had chances to travel and go to different things that they may have wanted to do. But when they understand who is going to be present, they have opted out. Right. And I've had conversations. Well, is there a way that you don't necessarily have to interact with them? You know, can it da 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 da? And they was like, you don't understand. Like, I'm not going to be able to escape them. Therefore, I'm not going to be able to enjoy the vacation or this opportunity. So I'm just not going to go. Because again, that's money wasted. When we go places, we hopefully should be enjoying ourselves. And I don't even think they realized, but they was putting a good boundary in place for themselves to protect their peace. They knew that that particular person disrupted their peace. They would be agitated, aggravated, frustrated, and they opted out. I'll do it. I'll deal with it later. How many of us is really gonna deal with it later? Now, this is a okay statement. J.Lee, why are you all in my conversation? I had, oh, my bad. I had with my pastor this weekend. Well, as you can see, you're not by yourself. Because I wasn't even aware about that. Oh, but you're not by yourself. And that's one reason I was like, okay, this is one of the words that we need to talk about, because there's a lot of us that's falling in these traps, and there's a lot of dialogues and things that we're telling ourselves that are absolutely keeping us stuck. And we got to figure out how to overcome those things and shift the way that we're thinking and processing to truly protect ourselves. Because a lot of times we'll put things in place to try to protect ourselves. And as I'm talking to people, I'm like, but how is that actually protecting you? And when they think about it, they'll be like, oh, it's not. No, it's really not. So I'll deal with it later. Avoid it. Here's where this becomes, it can be okay and not okay. If it's, I will process this later tonight, I'm going to intentionally journal. I'm going to intentionally figure out what I need, right? There is an action plan with the I will do it later, and it's an action plan that includes a time frame. Then that's fine, because sometimes we do need to go process, right? Because we don't always understand, like something can happen to us, someone can offend us or hurt us, and we may not understand, like, whoa, why did that upset me? Why am I offended? Why am I feeling this way? And we absolutely may need to go sit and figure that out before we have a conversation. But we all know when we say, I did it, I'll deal with it later, if we're actually just being avoided. I don't feel like doing that right now. I can't even process that. But we got to reframe that to say, I will address what is disrupting my peace. I will address it. Even if it makes me uncomfortable. Because again, remember, you're already uncomfortable. If you were never uncomfortable, we wouldn't be having the conversation. And then the other one, I don't want to seem difficult. Whew. Let me ask you guys. How many times have we not addressed something, not showed up as a healthy, authentic self of us, because we was worried about the perception? We was worried about being labeled difficult, angry, the mad Black woman, the angry Black woman. We was worried about the label that would come with it. So we chose to suffer in silence because, again, what offended us didn't go away. This is another way that we self sacrifice ourselves. And I'm going to encourage you, again, if done in a healthy, effective communication way, we absolutely have to advocate for ourselves. And if we are too much, if someone wants to label us as too much, if someone wants to label us as difficult, they have zero intention on understanding us. They don't value us and they don't respect us. Meaning they are not safe people. And so in those situations, because I know that may show up in work. And so how do we do this, navigate this if this is in work? If it's family, if it's relationships, you doing too much. Did we do too much? Was I calm? Was I direct? If I was calm and direct, I'm not doing too much. Now, if I'm screaming at the top of my lungs, hands, gestures get to going, neck is rolling, we rolling up on people. Okay, we doing too much. We doing too much. So I see one comment say, I'm now learning how to tell people if they say something that hurts my feelings or makes me uncomfortable. That is good. That is good. And in that, yes, we're communicating, but now you got to decide what is the boundary if they keep doing it. So in all of those things that I was saying, I don't want to hurt their feelings. It's not that serious. That's just how they are. I'll deal with this later. I don't want to seem difficult. All of these sound good, right? All of this sounds like, oh, I'm having empathy for the other person. I'm being understanding. But one, a lot of those are self sacrificing. You're keeping peace for everybody else, but you're tormenting yourself. But more importantly, this is the permission for them to continue to be disrespectful. A lot of times we get frustrated because there's no change in behavior. And I'm like, there's no consequence. We think just telling someone something, it's supposed to want them to show up better and do different. And for some people, they are healed or healing, and so they can receive constructive criticism about how their behaviors or how their actions are affecting somebody else, and absolutely be like, "Oh, my bad. I was absolutely not trying to do that. I will work on that." There's some people gonna be like, "And this is who I am." There's gonna be some people, "Well, I only did it because you made me do it." Those are not safe people, right? And so, how do you respect your boundaries? Instead of us getting upset because someone else is not automatically changing. And here's the thing. Okay. So here's the thing. It's easier. It's so much easier to point the finger at what somebody else need to do and how they need to change and the improvements that they need to make your life easier. It's so much easier. Well, if they would just, then I would be okay. But our boundaries are our responsibility. So let's get into I've set a boundary. I've told my family that, oh, when you start cussing, I'm going to go back to that one. When you start cussing, I'm just going to go to the left. When they start cussing, you stay around. And I'm using that one because that's a lighthearted one. But think of the boundaries that are very serious that we've tried to implement, but we don't even uphold it. We don't even honor what we say that we're going to do for ourselves. So, in actuality, we are not even respecting our own boundaries. We are not even respecting our own self, but we want everybody else to respect us. Are you respecting yourself? Are you holding true to the boundary that you have set? We have to start taking responsibility and accountability for the things that are ours and not holding things that are others, that belong to other people. Is there any boundaries that you guys want to throw in the comments that you want us to walk through? Because maybe you're stuck, right? Maybe there's a boundary that you've been wanting to communicate and you don't know how to communicate it, or it's a boundary that you're not able to stay consistent with. There's something in your mind that keeps not allowing you to hold true to it. If you guys, let's put it in the comments and let's talk about some of the boundaries that some of you guys may be struggling with being consistent about or even implementing, because maybe we don't know how to have the conversation. I'm gonna wait just a few moments just to see if anybody wants to put in it. Ooh, Q, get out of my head. Financial boundaries. Oh my goodness. Y'all, why is it so hard for us to create a budget and then stick to the budget? I'm gonna be honest what happens with me, and you guys can talk about what happens for you guys. What happens for me is I can set a budget. This is da 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 da. I'm gonna start saving some money. I'm gonna pay this off sooner. And then something interesting that I've been wanting to do or something new happens, and I don't want to miss out. Or there's a good deal or sale on something. Mhm. Mhm. Feeling obligated to do something for someone that did something for you? Absolutely. Absolutely. So how do we choose self? How do we shift our mindset? Feeling obligated is a hard one. Or even like she said, somebody's doing a fundraiser, they've always showed up for you, and maybe they just asking for $20, but you know that $20 was supposed to go to this extra bill over here. And I can only imagine the things that we tell ourselves, because I know what I tell myself, oh, it'll be fine. I'll just put extra 20 to it next month. But then guess what? Next month something else come up. And this is a real place for me right now. Um, so one thing that I said that I'm going to start telling myself is I am going to create a new budget. I'm going to make it very plain. And one of the things that God has been working with me since like last year is making sure that I'm a good steward of the things that He gives me. Right. And so because I that has been a big thing for me, stewarding people, stewarding resources, stewarding time, stewarding places, like even in this conversation, making sure that I'm being a good steward. I got to add money to that, right? And not just being good steward of paying my tithes, paying my bills, but being a good steward in not falling into those traps of obligation, not falling in the traps of sales, right? So my thought process, my mindset shift around the sales of If it is supposed to be mine, it will be mine, whether it is on sale or not. We have gotten into this mind frame, oh, we can save some money if I get it while it's on sale. But again, if that $20 was supposed to go to X, Y, and Z, you now have not steward what you were supposed to steward correctly. And yes, now you got this, I'm gonna call it a dress. You got this dress that's on sale, but you mismanage the resources. If we think about the talents, right? We had the three people had the talents. One double, two doubled, one put theirs in the ground. Now going to buy is not putting it in the ground, but it's still not doubling. It's still not managing the resources the appropriate way. So I just see somebody say, I just said that to my patient, being good with what I have in order to appreciate and handle the greater. Because the other thing we do know that if we cannot manage the small that he has given us, he's absolutely not going to give us more. Because we're just going to mismanage it. A lot of people feel like, oh, once if I make X amount of extra money, then I'll be set. No, because our mindset is not around that. You're still going to mismanage the extra. So Q says, one thing Naya has helped me do is shop my closet. I've learned that my poor financial boundaries is linked to my financial trauma. Right? If we come from a place of not having when we do have, a lot of times we mismanage. So shifting the mindset, right? So again, a sale. If it's supposed to be mine, it's going to be mine. I need to make sure I put the money where it's supposed to be. There were some other examples that I had in my head that has now flown the coop. So hopefully maybe they'll come back. But with the finances, it is a mindset shift and reminding ourselves to be a good steward of what he has given us. That's the best that I can say on that one. We have to make sure that we are stewarding what was given to us. Is there any other boundaries that you guys may be struggling with? Oh, we talked about missing out. That's a real one too, right? Um, there's things that I said yes to that I know financially I probably, well, it ain't no probably, I shouldn't have said yes to, but the fear of missing out on an opportunity, right, has definitely has definitely led to me making some bad financial decisions. And so even getting to a place of being able to rationalize that, like, yes, I'm going to miss out on this opportunity. However, if I mismanage this money, and this is the space that I'm getting to, if I mismanage this money, I'm going to absolutely miss out on other opportunities that I am supposed to be in. So I see, I've also noticed that since my daughter passed away, retail therapy has been my best friend. Um, Grief, depression, anxiety does lead to a lot of people either retail therapy or eating out. For me, mine is food. If I'm feeling down, let me go get this burger. Let me treat myself to a cup of coffee. Again, when I said this money is supposed to be allocated over here, oh, it's just a $5 coffee. It'll be fine. No, I have mismanaged my money. And a lot of times we rationalize why it's okay. And we got to start rationalizing things rationalizing why things might be okay when it's really not. So even with the retail therapy, I like what Q said. Shop in your closet. We want to look and see what we got. Go have a fashion show in your closet. Be like, let's go see what I got in my closet. I ain't been in it a minute. Let me go see. Do a fashion show. Try the clothes on. Mix and match. Oh, this would be cute. So we got to start figuring out ways, especially when it's things that we're supposed to be doing for self, to deter us from giving in. So that means we got to have discipline. I needed this my first day back in America. Q, I'm not even going to ask what you have done. We got to have discipline. And I know I'm only going to talk about me. I'm not going to talk about y'all. Sometimes I lack discipline because I know exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, but I don't necessarily discipline myself to stay true to it. And that's hard. That's also why our boundaries, we don't always uphold our boundaries. Like, even if we got the plan, cool, I'm going to say this is what I'm going to do, but I want to hear the conversation. But you said cursing makes your ears hurt. Do we need to hear the conversation? Hey, Deborah. I learned from a stylist to match each piece with at least 3 other items. I like that. I like that. So we got to be disciplined with our boundaries and with things that we're supposed to be doing. And when we're trying to rationalize why it's okay for us not to uphold our own boundary, whatever it may be, whether it's in conversations, it's access, it's financial decisions, ask yourself, am I being a good steward? Am I being a good steward to myself? Because I feel like a lot of us, and I am absolutely guilty of it, I have definitely mismanaged myself. I have absolutely not been a good steward to myself. Are you being a good steward to yourself? I definitely lack discipline, but I'm trying really hard to stick to my budget. Hmm. And then I see, okay, this pattern spill over to other areas of our lives. It absolutely does. It does. I have see some of y'all saying, "Yep, I've mismanaged myself." It's easy to mismanage ourselves. I will say that's one thing that we're not taught. We're not taught how to manage ourselves. We're not taught a lot of things about ourselves. We're taught to be small, conform, make sure everybody else is good around us, give, even to your detriment. But now it's become a detriment to us because we have lost us. And even in our efforts to regain self, sometimes, I'm not going to say all the times, sometimes even trying to regain our value, our worth, our independence, we do it in a way that's still not healthy because we don't have to hurt others to feel ourselves. We don't have to tear down others to choose us. It's not an either or. I hope each and every one of you guys have received something. And so I just want to leave you guys with this. Boundaries are not walls to shut people out. Boundaries are not walls to shut people out, right? We shouldn't weaponize, oh, you not respecting my boundary, da 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 da. It's not a wall. They are gates to allow the right things in. It is a gate. And here's the thing. Every time you fail to set a boundary, mm, you reinforce the very pattern that you've been trying to break. So where in your life have you been using language, your mindset that is keeping you uncomfortable because you are wanting other people to be comfortable? Or you're in denial that you're incomfortable and addressing it will make you uncomfortable when, again, you're already uncomfortable. Instead, let's lean into it. Let's start setting these boundaries in a healthy way so we can become unstoppable. So, like, I want to say it was Miss Cassandra, I think, who said, I don't allow no mess in my life. So we can make sure that there's no mess in our life and making sure that we're stewarding us well so we can steward others well. Right? Because if we're not stewarding us well, no matter what we've been taught, we're honestly not stewarding others well because we can be a crutch from somebody else getting the tools that they need to be successful. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate each and every one of you guys tuning in. Again, I hope you guys have received something that you're able to take away and actually apply, not just hear, right? Let's not do our Sunday service where we go hear the word, it sounds good in church, and then on Monday morning, we done dropped it. I hope each and every one of you guys are able to actually apply something, whether it's just one step, one mind frame shift, but apply, apply, apply. Let's continue to do this work. Let's continue to be healthy people so we can steward the ones that we are supposed to touch so they can go steward the ones that they're supposed to touch. Right? So you guys have a wonderful Wednesday and a wonderful rest of the week. If you have not, please remember to go register for the wellness takeover this weekend and hopefully see you guys in the room on Friday. Y'all have a fabulous, fabulous week. Oh, and we got the wellness. Thank you, Kanitra. Don't forget the wellness work book business book tour. Who's up next? We have Paula Lewis coming up on April 22nd. Is that today? Today, April 22nd, Paula is going to be doing her first day of her 2 days. So please, please lock in and tune in for Miss Paula. Y'all have a wonderful day.
Hello, my name is Kenitra Moselle, and I am founder of a beautiful community called Grace for This. We are about women taking ownership of their wellness journey in 3 ways: personally, relationally, and professionally. I'm inviting you to be honest about your grieving experience, your healing experience, and then lastly, your building experience. You're going through this because you grace for this.